Alright, you guys have no idea how much Hello Neighbor content I've been consuming the last 10 or so days, okay? In case you missed it, I made a full-on 9-minute long review on Hello Neighbor 2, and I went deep into the rabbit hole, okay? I didn't just review it, okay? I went back to the older titles, and I dived a bit into the marketing of Hello Neighbor 2, and I found some wacky-ass garbage, man. Like, this whole debacle around this game, it is such a disastrous mess. And I still really can't wrap my head around it. It's just mind-boggling, really. So if you didn't watch the video, I highly recommend watching it because, man, I've just been grinding and grinding the last few days. I have spent like 8-9 hours a day just editing, scripting, researching, all that nonsense. It's a chunky video, okay? Please watch it. Give me money. But anyway, I thought I quickly make a quick ramble video where I just kind of summarize my overall thoughts, because this might have not been completely transparent in the video, but as standalone, the game Hello Neighbor with no bits and bobs attached to it, like forget the marketing, forget the first game, forget the spin-offs, forget the price tag, Hello Neighbor 2 in a complete vacuum is alright. This isn't a awful game if you ignore everything around it. It's somewhat fun, the concept is interesting, and it has some funny, goofy moments. Like, I kinda enjoyed it, parts of it at least. Like the first thing, the ending. The ending is, it's such a cop-out. It is just lazy and just lame. Like, I'm gonna spoil it. You don't care about spoilers, but I'm gonna spoil it anyway. You free the kid from the neighbor, and then a bird falls onto the neighbor, and you get knocked out. And then credits roll. That happens. It's so unsatisfying. The overall jank of this game it's not as bad as Hello Neighbor 1 or Hide and Seek or even Secret Neighbor. But man, you see things clip through each other all the time, like textures pop in and out. You have these weird blue squares that appear everywhere for some reason. What is going on? It is so messy. It feels really, really goddamn rushed. And then you have the AI wonkily like chasing you, and then you get into a bathtub, and then they can't get to you anymore. They just kind of look at you like, how do I get to you? It is extremely flawed, okay? You can abuse the living hell out of the AI, and I have seen people speedrun this game, okay? They complete it in 2 minutes. 2 goddamn minutes! That's quicker than a Mario Bros speedrun. The puzzles themselves can also be super confusing. I had a few parts where I was lost for like 20 minutes straight. But when a puzzle finally lands and you manage to fix it, you get filled with a little bit of dopamine, and it's fun. If I would grade this game, I usually try to avoid grading games in my main videos because Metacritic is such a goddamn fart fest of just misusing grades, and I feel like a number attached to a game doesn't really mean anything anymore. But I'm still gonna do it. I would rate this game a 6. That's still a passing grade. If I would give the first Hello Neighbor like a 3 and Hide and Seek a 4, this is a 6, okay? The game itself is not atrocious, but like I said in the video, everything around it is. It is messy as hell. The marketing is like the biggest offender here. So it started out as a game called Hello Guest. Quote me on this if I'm wrong, but I think this was it was supposed to be a secret game, kind of like a teaser to a upcoming full price release of Hello Neighbor 2. It later got released on Steam. I'm not a big fan of this, obviously, because it is a goddamn Hello Neighbor game, but they had some sort of vision going, and I think this is what they were kind of trying to do for the actual sequel Hello Neighbor 2. So they started to do a bunch of marketing, and they released this trailer where they had these pretty cool like wind effects, and it kind of looked like Hello Neighbor 1, but it was so heavily scripted to the point that it actually looked pretty fun and polished, but all they were showing was just fake. It was just a bunch of Ubisoft Watch Dogs garbo. I knew that everything that they were showing was just scripted and fake. And I really dislike when companies do this because it's super deceptive. And then they released a test version called Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha. I think they released this in 2020, and I played it back then. And even then, I thought it was just a it was bad. It was really, really bad. I would say it was even worse than the original Hello Neighbor. It's so confusing, convoluted, and again, just super messy. It's bad. If you don't have a real direction of where you need to go, you just get lost and you start to wander around like a little loser, looking around in every single corner, and then the actual answer is so obscure and mysterious that you just stare at your screen and say, how the hell was I supposed to guess that? Then they released Alpha 1.5, which was like a slightly different house, but still the same like basic premise. I don't get the point of a 1.5 alpha when all you're gonna do is change the layout of the house. Like, I'm pretty sure all the mechanics are still the same. What's the point of this? Then they started to do some more marketing, and they heavily promoted a feature called Neural Network AI. The basic premise of a neural network is that you collect a bunch of data and will try to find the best solution to that data. That was basically the idea of Hello Neighbor 2. You had this neighbor, a bunch of people start playing the game, and the neighbor gets smarter, and as a community, you try to solve the game together. On paper, that's a fun idea, but in execution, that just doesn't work if you like think about it for 5 seconds. So someone that played the game for like 10 hours, he has an idea of how it works, but for someone that just jumped in and the neural network is already so advanced, how the hell is that fair? And he had a few more clips like showing like it was legit gameplay, and then like a week or so before the game was supposed to release, they changed the description of the Steam page to remove the neural networking AI completely. This game doesn't have any neural networking AI, like they completely scrapped it. So my theory to this is, I think there's just a lack of direction at the studio of Hello Neighbor. It might have been that the director of this game was swapped out for a different one, and that's why such a big chunk of the footage they showed was just missing. It basically just turned into a completely different game, because if you look back at the trailers, it's a different game. It looks different, the mechanics are different, the location is completely different. All the cutscenes that they are showing, none of them are in the game. The only thing that remain are, I think, the first house you go into and the museum, which you go in multiple times throughout the whole game. The rest is all either scrapped or thrown away. Even the goddamn crow, I mentioned it in the video, the crow is in the game for 3 seconds, less than 3 seconds in a cutscene. He was the main protagonist of the alphas, he was the main protagonist of Hello Guest, and he is not in the game. They even featured him in the later trailers, like he was going to be a big part of it, and he just isn't there. And then you have probably the most scummy part of it all. There is day one downloadable content. I said it in the main video. How shameless can you be? And the DLC isn't even good. It's basically 2 complete new levels, but from what I've heard, they are just not, they don't work. They aren't functional. I'm not gonna buy this. I refuse to buy these DLCs. I already bought the game for 40 bucks. I'm not playing the DLC if it's gonna be completely broken. If I had to say what I think of Hello Neighbor 2 in a nutshell, I think that, I mean, I've already said it, this is a messy game. If you ignore everything around that is not like in the game, it's fine. If you buy this game for like 15-20 bucks, I think that's a good deal. But if you see what they did around it, all the false promises they made, all the cut content and just jank, it's not great. I'm giving this a 6, and I still think I'm being generous. If you want something similar to Hello Neighbor 2, but that actually works, I recommend checking out the recent Resident Evil games, because it's basically that, but way more polished and more fleshed out. And also the story of Hello Neighbor, oh my god, it sucks. Why don't remove the story, please?